Right guys, so we're testing out a new video format where I have some infield footage and I talk over it like this and I give you a breakdown on everything that's happening, why I'm doing stuff, how I'm doing stuff, how all this works on a very, very cool, deep level. If you have any questions, anything you don't understand, any of that, leave comments. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Hello, random girl. You are very cute. I like cute girls, so I'm saying hello.
Okay, so first things first, when I've come up to her to try and talk with her, you can see that I've come in on an angle where she has to engage with me. Now, she could walk away if she doesn't want to talk, and I always think that's the ideal thing, where you get someone in a position where they have to talk to you because you're like in front of them, but you're not up close, right in front, where they feel all pressured and uncomfortable. Because the bottom line for all this stuff is you don't want to go around like making people feel awkward and uncomfortable, right? You want to generate good responses with people, make sure they have a good time. The second thing is that I'm listening carefully to how she responds. So I spoke English with her, and her immediate response was to say thank you in English. Now I'm listening to her accent, and that tells me straight away if she has good English or bad English, how experienced she is, either like has she lived overseas or is she just learning here. And you can get quite good at this, being able to judge their English level and history, we'll say, just based on the first word or two and how they say it and do it. The last thing here that I'll point out is this. I put my hand out to shake her hand. I do this a lot. It is really good to do because people have an automatic response, so it almost always guarantees they're going to engage with you. This is like 99% of the time this will work flawlessly. And it's just that once they do that, they're in this position, their attention's on you, they're not going to go anywhere because they're shaking hands. So what I'm referring to here is about managing their attention effectively.
What's your name? Huh?
Shuki.
Shuki.
Yeah.
It's a really weird name. My name's Kane.
Alright, so you notice that I very quickly asked her what her name was, and then I commented by saying, oh, that's like a weird name. And I told her my name. My reasoning here is simply that when I comment that her name's weird, she's going to start thinking, oh, why does he think that? And then I give her the next thing, which is my name, right? So I'm just controlling her attention again and giving her information to process so our interaction can move forwards. Now, if I didn't do this, and let's just say I stood there and I was like, so what's up? Or just didn't be engaging, it would likely just be awkward and she would just bail. So when you first go and talk to people, especially Asian chicks, you really want to be quite engaging and on the ball in the first few minutes, like this.
Shuk.
So how long you've been in Shanghai?
10 minutes.
Oh, wow, you just arrived?
No.
Oh,
I've been here 10 years.
okay.
Alrighty, so you can see that after we did the name exchange, she's trying to engage by bringing up a different topic and talking with me. That's usually a pretty good sign. If someone's not attracted to you, typically they're not going to put in effort. So if you want to know if someone's attracted, look for the effort they put in. Asking questions, showing interest is definitely something worthwhile to notice. Now, when she asked me this question, I immediately came up with a funny, bullshitty response, right? I said I'd only been in Shanghai for like 10 minutes. And that obviously was a joke and she got it. And you can see that it affected her in terms of her body language because she started shifting around. So it's important when you are getting the interaction going in the very beginning that you add in jokes like this and things just to like lighten the tension a bit. Because for a lot of Asian girls, they don't really know who you are, they don't know what you're doing. Depending on their experience level with like Westerners and Western culture, they're going to have a variety of reactions. So the more you can do to make it lighthearted, the better.
10 years.
You sound very English.
Thank
You lived in England for how long?
Alrighty, so you can see here that I made an assumption about where she's from based on the accent. This is always a great thing to do, and the reason is this. Asking people questions is very seeking rapport. Now, seeking rapport is fine if you're much higher value than somebody. So if, let's say, you're the boss of a company and then you seek rapport by speaking with people who work for you, obviously they're going to appreciate that because they know the value and difference between the two of you. I mean, they can see you're the boss, you control the money of the company, etc., etc. But in this situation, where I'm some random dude on the street, it may not be good to do that, especially if we take into account like her sexual market value and mine. At this time, to her, she doesn't really know. She can just base it off my appearance, which I know is glorious. But we're probably around even, and that means that me seeking rapport in a situation is not an ideal move. So instead of asking a question, I make a statement. And this is not really a breaking rapport thing or a seeking rapport thing. It's just putting it out there and then expecting a response. So it's like a neutral move, but it's always a really good thing to do because it implies that I think she should respond to me. She should follow on with this conversation. That's the presupposition behind my actions here. So a lot of the game is played in that subtle kind of subconscious area, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. Hence, I'm breaking it down for y'all.
Not England, Australia.
Get out.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Are you Australian?
Yeah.
So I don't have any Australian accent at all?
All right, so when she mentioned that she had lived in Australia, I had an emotional response to that. I said, get out. And I changed my body language and my expression. Now, I do this naturally. However, I am aware of why it's good. And generally, what it does is it draws an emotional reaction from the other person as well. And that's because my emotions are shown on my face and we're programmed to respond to stuff like that. So if you want to get girls engaged into the interaction with you emotionally, which you really should, it's a very good thing to be doing because girls hate people who are boring, then you should be letting your own emotions come out. And you don't have to be a clown or do some crazy level of that. You can see how I did it here. It's quite subtle, but the effects are quite good.
Well, you have an accent, but it sounded English to begin with.
Okay.
If you were like, oh, how you going there, mate? It's a bit of alright.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see at this point I'm just playing on the topic we have currently going between us, that she's from Australia. Now again, I'm just making a joke to make things funny between us, and you can see it has quite a good response. She feels happy, she giggles, all of that. So anytime that you're doing any sort of thing like this, you really do want to try and milk as much as you can from your existing topic. If in this situation I didn't do that and I was like, oh, how long did you live there for? Or started some sort of questioning, it wouldn't necessarily be bad, but it wouldn't be optimizing the topic I already can use. And one of the weird things some guys do is they like change topics a lot because they don't really know how to progress with one topic to any sort of depth. So for example, if they say, what do you do for work? And the girl's like, oh, I'm a receptionist. They're like, oh, do you like that job? Oh, what did you study in school? And that's like not good to do because the whole one question should have at least a minute worth of like follow-up conversation. And let's just say you asked her, okay, what do you do for work? And she's like, oh, I'm a receptionist. You're like, oh, okay, you're a receptionist at this, or this company. So it's the same central topic, but then you're pushing for more detail. And this is really good to do because then she'll start giving you detail, and then you and her can have a conversation which feels like she's getting to know you, you're getting to know her because of the detail. With no detail, it's not going to feel like that. It's just going to be a load of chody questions that are going to be boring. So with the reception one, it's a shitty question, but I would probably ask like, what sort of company do you work at? Why did you start working there instead of doing what you really wanted to do, which was obviously like get a bunch of horses, right? And again, I'm making some sort of assumption there, but that's just because it's going to be funny and it's going to push her to actually tell me what she wanted to do, which leads us to a way more interesting conversation. But it's all based on using that central topic well initially.
Yeah, I can't, because I grew up in New Zealand. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry to hear that, but keep going.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I went to Australia for university. Yeah.
And you just graduated.
No, actually not. Oh. Wait.
Okay, so you can see that the statements I've made and the push for details has worked because then she's actually started to give me a reasonable amount of detail about her history and all that. The other thing I did at the end there was I snuck in a compliment. So anytime you're talking to Asian chicks, I mean, you really want to be kind of trying to figure out how old they are. And if they look, let's say, 28, 30, you should be saying that they look like they just graduated from university. So they all really start to feel kind of negative about their age at around 25, 26. And this is mainly because of like social pressure to get married and all this other stuff. and we're not here to discuss that today. The important thing is just that you find ways to like bring in the age thing in a way that is good for them, where you're complimenting them. So when I said to her that she just graduated, she told me, not really, meaning she probably graduated a few years back. But either way, she's still going to appreciate the compliment that you're giving her. So always try and find a way to slip that one in. I think it's quite a goodie. After this, you're going to see when everything starts to go to shit, because I made one very, very important mistake, which I will tell you about in just a second.
啊，你到了，OK， gotta go。
Wait, before you run away.
喂，
Yeah,
我
get him.
师傅我没有看到，没有，我现在就在这里，我就在这里呀。
Alrighty, so what's happening here is that she was waiting for an Uber and it's turned up. And now the driver of the car is saying like, oh, where are you? I can't see you. And she's then saying, oh, I'm just here. And she's like running out to try and wave him down. The mistake I made here was that I should have asked her earlier in the set, what are you doing right now? What am I interrupting? And stated what I'm doing. Because normally if you roll up to chicks and you say a few things and they're chill enough to talk to you for like 30 seconds or a minute, and then you say to them, oh, what am I interrupting right now? Like, what are you doing? Because I'm going to go and meet my friend in just a minute, and that's why I'm talking to you now, but what are you doing? And that tells them, all right, I'm not going to be here for that long talking to you. I'm going to go do something. It's just like I saw you and I can talk to you. And then they have the chance to tell you what they're doing. And when they tell you what they're doing, you know how much time you've got generally. If they say, oh, I'm waiting for my car, then you know you probably don't have long. If they say, I'm waiting for my friend, then you can ask like details about who or how long you've been waiting, etc., etc., etc. So anyway, this is like a mistake that I made, and you can see that it made things somewhat messy. Now, I did something to try and fix it. Check it out.
那你是不是要再往前？没有看到，我就在公交车站这里啊。你是不是要再往前一点？我在瑞欧百货对面的，在瑞欧百货对面的公交车站。
Dude, this is gonna suck. So Shuki, I know you're gonna run away. Before you do, add the thing real quick, because I like you. You're hot, and I keep talking. Yep.
All right. Okay, I'll scan you. I have to go.
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yep.
来了，这不能停，看 they can't stop parking. Okay, see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so you can see that she had this car coming, and that was just a really big problem, because there's no way I can circumvent that. So what did I do? I pushed it. I told her what I wanted from her, and I gave her the correct way to do it, which was let her get to the car, so then she's like there. She's not gonna like be feeling any pressure to keep moving forwards. And then I told her what I want to do, which was scan my Wechat, so then I could like add her and talk to her, and that takes like 1 second on her behalf, which she then did. So in this sort of situation, I mean, I could have not done any of that, and I could have given up and gone, oh, well, maybe she doesn't like me because she's leaving, or oh, this is just too bad, it's too awkward or embarrassing to like do this way. And there definitely will be some people who will do that. However, I don't really care about how I look in whatever situation. I care about the results I get. Now, in actuality, I don't even think I look bad in this. There's no one in that video who's around there going, oh my god, look at this bald foreign dude trying to get this girl. Haha, what a fucking loser, right? There's literally no one thinking that. So, I'm going for what I want, and I'm getting what I want. Now, in terms of pickup, you're not always going to succeed, but you damn sure will get better results when you go for what you want and you don't give no shits. So in this situation, she may think well of me, she may think poorly. I would say almost always the winning move is to do the brave thing and push whenever you feel pressure. So in this situation, me going and saying to her, yo, give me your details, etc., it's a little bit of pressure there. I mean, some people are going to feel like it's awkward, as I mentioned. I think the right thing to do is to push through, get those details, hit the girl up, meet the girl, have a good time. That's it for this week's video. I hope you all have a great one. If you have any requests, questions, comments, accusations, rude, angry messages for me, happy messages, you need any help, hit us up. KaneVast, pick up Asia.